got to resort to whatever they can do to get some money. See, LA is a different dynamic. Oakland's a different dynamic. You know, whereas a city like New York, you can get any kind of hustle on here and try to make some bread. But they take the starving out there, so they robbing every damn thing. On top of them being simple and ignorant as hell also. But your Bidenomics got niggas still doing robberies from the 80s. Right. So how did your Bidenomics help the economy so much? And if it did, you damn sure not helping a black man. Right. So, you know, Robert, 14, 15. The simple believe it every word. You niggas are simple and then whatever amount of tells you gonna do, I'm gonna pick right up where Biden left off. Biden told you niggas if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Right. So that's when you pick it up when she left off? But so it's just pure folly, man. The more I hear these Negroes trying to make some damn sense out of this whole Kamala election thing, it gets more and more disgusting. Right. But come on, but the prudent man. Look at, well, the prudent man, the man that's aware, the man that's smart, the man that's going to check things out. You want to look well to your goals. I'm not voting for this shit, man. Yes, I'm not voting at all, man, because your vote don't really count. Right. This simple nigga Diddy said vote or die. Nigga, you voted and you died. Right. You know what I'm saying? And now your ass is walking on Miami Beach like a regular old Joe, and the Fed about to lock your ass up. He said that to Kim Porter, his ex-rib. Yeah. Vote or die. Vote or die, yeah. And she died. Said that to I'll be sure, too. Right, God. And he almost died, I'll be sure. Right, God. A wise man, spirit. That's it on that. Matthew 15:14. Right, yeah, man, it's a pure simplicity, man. Right. But like Solomon said, the simple believe every word. Just like Obama gave you a bunch of false promises, somebody will give you all they trying to do is make for the female version of Obama. That's all it's all pure folly, man. All pure folly and nothing to help you with. Now they got Michelle Obama talking about giving childbirth, and she talked about in vitro fertilization. Right. So now, you know, the conspiracy theorists trying to say she's a veteran. Right. Yeah. Because, you know, with the in vitro, you know what I'm saying? Right. But she tried to tie that in with, what was that whole thing Obama did? Obamacare. She tried to tie that in and say that Kamala is going to keep that going. So, you know, from what I only watched the thing one time, but she spoke about IVF, right, vitro fertilization. And you know, the conspiracy theorists like me, that proves Michelle is with Michael. Right. Because she had to have in vitro fertilization, you know that. Well, it's the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 15. Yeah. And when it was evening, his disciples, 15, 14. Matthew 15, 14. Yeah. Let them alone. The Lord said, let them alone, man. They all finished, man. And leaders, leave them alone. Right, they had on Instagram. They had the Edomite man that they converted, they cut out his genitals and his rod and converted it to a vagina. And the man said, I'm happy to have my new, that's why. And he said, his boyfriend was holding his genitals in his head. Wow. Holding up in his head. Yeah, that's all. And they was all up and down. And he said, I'm happy to have my new. Yeah. And a boyfriend said, yeah. Here's his own nut. Right. Wow. This place is all.
It's all over. It's done. You know? Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, let's talk about it. Okay. Apparently, we were all left behind. Okay, I don't know how to tell it. I don't know how to explain it to you any more than that. All right. Christian brothers, not the drink. The Christian brothers apparently are up there in heaven as we speak, and here we are all left behind. It's gonna be a lot of sarcasm in this video. So if you get on late and you think I'm actually, being legit with what I'm saying, then you can rewind this and let me know that, you missed the sarcasm part. We have all been left behind. First, let's give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being named in the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being named his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Kwom Yasha'Allah, we got next. Shalom, double honors to our elders, paving the way, putting in the work, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This message is called Left Behind. You know, who knew that all you needed to do was say Jesus' name 3 times to get into heaven? Who knew that all you had to do was absolutely nothing? Sit on your couch and take out your credit card and watch Joel Osteen live your life terribly, you know? Go to lynchings after church. Who knew? The Christians knew that's who. We would only realize that most of the book is not even important. All we got to do is just say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus 3 times, and we made it into the kingdom of heaven. And even though it says, you know, no man knows the hour or time, not even Jesus, the Christians knew something. That's why they're all gone. They've put in their TikToks on silent and private. They now have like deactivated their Facebook's account, Facebook accounts. Can't even say it. Can't even say it. And Instagram and all that, all their social media, because they're gone. Okay, we got a couple videos. We're going to talk about it. You know what I mean? Who knew that selling your house and your car and quitting your job, you know, in September, you'd just be caught up in the sky, you know? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's go to Matthew 24 and 23. Slakia. Let's clean that up a little bit. All right. Might have been from my tears. Tears, I say, from being left behind. Go ahead, Ken, can you bring that out? Matthew 24 and 23.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not.
Kind, because you got the Hamites, they're in the middle of the woods somewhere, and they were just screaming at the top of their lungs at the sun. I'm pretty sure that's the same sun that's been out since forever. You know what I mean? But they were looking at the sun and they were saying like, "Oh, there's Jesus. Oh, Jesus." And I'm like, that's the sun. Is there something else I'm not seeing? You know, I wouldn't have been. I'm glad though, wasn't out there in the woods with all those Hamites. You know what I'm saying? They might sell you into slavery. You know how they've been known to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or, you know, you're out there just mocking them and saying like, "Are we there yet?" You know, they might have got upset. But somebody had to leave first. It was somebody that had to leave first. That's sitting there. It's like, I don't think we're being raptured right now. And everybody's like, shut up, don't say it. Don't say that. We'll stay here all night if we have to. Then it probably start getting dark. Once the sun goes down, people are like, man, I got work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else is probably like, man, I had work tomorrow. I quit my job. That's the thing about Christianity, man. If you don't read the scriptures, then, you know, you could be swayed any which way. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't take much. All right. Go ahead, read verse 20, 24. Con, you're on mute.
Salaki.
Con.
For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
I guess if everything's going on, you see the three-eye atlas, you see there's drones over Denmark, it's just reinforcing something that some false prophet made up. You know what I'm saying? I think the guy's name was Joshua or something like that, another Hamite. And he's like, yeah, you know, it's all over. Send me everything. You know what I'm saying? Here's my Cash App and Apple Pay and, you know, all that. we're about to get raptured in a week. You don't need it anyway. Now, I'm not sure he said that, but I'm assuming he had to have some type of angle for this, like unless, he really, was being plagued by a legion of demons that are telling him everything that he thought he needed to know. But obviously, we understand it's not true. All right, go ahead.
Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert,
Mm-hmm.
go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I'm telling you this. Like, how many times are y'all gonna fall for the same thing? I'm telling you, do not believe them. They are going to lie to you. Do you know what I mean? It is a money making scheme, or just being evil. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, you should know better. You claim to be Christian, but at the same time, you never read the book that you claim to follow. Miss the whole first half of the book. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's the old God. This one now Jesus loves everybody, and that's all we're going to pay attention to. That is madness, man. Utter madness. Or it's absolutely true, and we all been left behind. Man, get out of here with that. All right. So, for Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is protected by the Fair Use Act. This is for educational purposes only. All right, let's get to it. First we're gonna check out. There's a no. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's a second rapture prediction on October 6th, Slovakia, from the same Hamite pastor who made a mistake on the first one. Like he didn't carry his eye. That's what it is. See, that's what y'all don't know this. Y'all don't know that. If you don't carry the I and dot the I, it looks like a one. So then it looks like the September 23rd, but it's really October 6th because the 6th is silent. See, y'all don't know this stuff, man. Y'all don't read the scriptures. Ham, man, serving the servants. The servant of servants. He don't know no better. But there's people that believe him. That's crazy. Now let's watch a little bit of this, right? Um, okay, let me rewind, Salakia. Some people are upset. Some people have been bamboozled, run astray, led astray, run amok. And they're upset. And can you blame them? Can you blame them? They don't read, so this is what you get. It's now they're left behind. Let's watch this.
Evangelical Christians quite like rapture talk. Yes, you heard that right. TikTok, of all places, convinced thousands of Trump-loving evangelicals that Jesus Christ himself had scheduled his grand return for September 23rd or 24th. And let me tell you, they were ready.
September 25th, and we are still here. I had hoped to be home with Jesus. At this point, I had hoped to see my husband again, and my dad, my grandma, others that I know and love that have gone on before me. I had hoped that we would be home today. Okay, I'm literally about to crash out. So I am super, super, super persuadable, and I've been I've been on Rapture Talk for like the past, I don't know, hour.
How do you know you're super, super, super persuadable, and yet you continue to be super, super persuade? After a while, you got to think like, man, I'm kind of gullible and dumb. Let me just not believe anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Can I just not believe anything instead of believing everything and getting on the internet and saying I am super, super persuadable? Goofy. Let's go.
A couple things. First of all, are we not scared to think that if the if the rapture is happening, if the rapture is gonna happen in a few days, but they say it's gonna happen, that means I only have a few days left with my kids. If the rapture isn't gonna happen, can you imagine? Like, what if you really did only have a few days left with your kids? Oh my gosh, I'm literally crashing out right now. What the fuck, dude? We have 3 days left. Whether you count it from today and go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we go, that's 3 days. Or if you count it from tomorrow and you say Sunday, Monday, and we go on the 3rd day. I looked up at the sky and I saw the clouds and I was like, man, that looks like a door. I look up again, I see a 3. A 3.
Hey everybody, this is my last video. This is my last warning to the world. The darkness will come tonight.
Have you written your rapture letter? Okay. If you've written your rapture letter, is it sitting out where somebody can find it and not stashed away in your drawer? Did I mention the Bibles? Do you have your Bibles gathered up and setting around where people can see them if they break into your house?
Hi, this is probably going to be my last video. This morning I woke up and I heard, have a nice flight. And then last night I had a vision of a hand and I saw someone putting a ring on a finger. And then I heard marriage supper. So I'm like, okay, Jesus. Like a couple days ago, he's like, about a week left. And then I had a vision of his feet.
I know heaven's not gonna be
Yeah, what his feet look like, Esau? Huh? What his feet look like? All these visions and people talking to you in your sleepy. What does his feet look like? It's actually described in the scriptures what his feet look like. They cut that short, right? Didn't read that part. Man, mental illness is serious here in America. This is one big insane asylum. You know what I'm saying? And here's the patients. The patients get on the internet and tell you that they're crazy. Let's just keep watching.
proud as we want it to be, but we have got to do our best and try so hard and plant seeds every single day.
Thought that the rapture would actually turn into adult Christmas for the rest of us. In the last 4 days, I have seen people giving away stuff on like Facebook Marketplace, selling their vehicles.
I'm going home.
It was just gifted $1,915 in bills, cash. Wad, Uber driver, a couple gets in from church crying because they believe the rapture is about to happen any day this week. And they're like, you know what? Here, we don't need this. Gives him a wad of cash. Another woman has left her niece $40,000 of her savings. Why? Because her niece is gay. So this woman just got $40,000 for being gay. And don't think that all gays are like really coming out ahead here, because there was one gay man online who has been sharing his conversation with a woman who does believe that she's going to get raptured, and she likes him. And she's like, I really like you, gay. I would like you to take care of my dog, Abigail, once I am raptured. Will you do that for me? And he's like, absolutely not. Are you saying that God doesn't like me and wouldn't take me to heaven? And she's like, yeah, basically. He's like, please unfollow me. So yeah, he's not really having the best experience. But a lot of people have gotten some really good deals, cash, and like tens of thousands of dollars from Rapture of 2025. So who knew that this holier than thou rapture movement was going to turn into adult Christmas?
I'm a sociologist and I have studied cults for like 10 years. And I've been especially interested in Christian nationalism. And when you look at all of the rapture talk that is going on Rapture Talk, when people start making goodbye videos, that's when cults start getting really unalivey. It would not surprise me in the next few days if people not only start taking themselves out, but start taking out their whole families. I don't think you guys understand how ready to go these people are. Like some of them, they're going. This week is going to be insane. When people are at the point that they are quitting their jobs, selling all their, like, offloading their whole physical life, they're getting ready to unalive themselves. We've seen this over and over and over with death cults. That's what this is, and that's what's happening.
This was full-blown panic prepping. Some evangelicals sold their homes, others gave away their cars. A few cleaned out their retirement accounts because apparently you don't need a 401k if you're about to hitch a ride on the Express Cloud service to heaven. Overnight, yard sales became holy liquidation events. Imagine Craigslist meets the Book of Revelation. These are the same evangelicals who can't agree on whether Harry Potter is witchcraft or if drinking Starbucks makes you complicit in satanic rituals. Suddenly, they were united under one banner. The rapture was trending, and they didn't want to miss their flight. And honestly, for a moment, it was kind of heartwarming, because in preparation for their cosmic departure, a lot of them went out doing genuinely good things. They donated money, they forgave debts, they handed out food to their neighbors. People who hadn't spoken to their estranged siblings in 20 years were suddenly making awkward phone calls that started with, "Hey, just in case, I'm floating off tomorrow. I love you." For one shining second, it was like the Beatitudes had gone viral. But let's be real here. They weren't doing this out of pure love or long-term transformation. No. They were basically treating kindness like carry-on luggage for their heavenly departure. It was less about embodying the Sermon on the Mount and more about cramming for the final exam. Think of it as spiritual extra credit. If I donate this lawnmower to my neighbor, maybe I'll get bumped to first class when the rapture takes off.
And that, okay, let me see what he's gonna say. But that makes sense, right? Like you've been a demon your entire life, and then you think the rapture's coming, so it's like, here, I'll give you some, here's an extra couple dollars. But you were a demon your entire life. Let's see what he has to say, and then we'll move on.
Reported his car being taken away after he sold it because he says he doesn't need it anymore. A mother said that her daughter spoke in tongues talking about the new moon. Another woman bought a bunch of Bibles and wrote notes in them to be left around for people to find after the supposed rapture that is on Tuesday, September 23rd. We need to talk about this. A concept that was built in the 1800s is causing people to sell their cars and prep for this thing that is not going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, the amount of people that are going to turn around and say, no, it wasn't that day. See, you misinterpreted it. It's actually this day.
And they did that. October 6th is now the new day. And October 6th, it's like, oh, October 6th, 2026. I forgot to carry the one. Man. Let's continue on. Let's go to let's stay in Matthew. And let's read verse 27.
Come on, Matthew 24 and 27. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Okay, so people are going to see the coming of the Son of Man. You know what I mean? It's not like we were just left behind. Zephaniah said, how come I can't meet none of these people? That's what I'm saying, Maybe I'll Uber to the church on Sunday and pick all of them up. You know what I mean? Ain't any other tips you want to give? But hey, I gladly take that. $1,300 and $40,000 to her gay niece. It's gonna probably be like, yo, that's an awkward conversation. Like, remember that $40,000 I gave you? Wondering if you could just loan it back to me, or I'm kind of still here. I don't think that gay niece is gonna, you know what I mean? Once that check is signed, we might have to go through Judge Judy or Judge Joe Brown to get that joint back. Man, so it's just another level of Christian psychosis of just listening to other people. That's what it is. Nobody's ever reading this book by themselves or trying to decipher it. It's just, what did Joel Osteen say, or Creflo Dollar? You know what I mean? Eddie Long gone, but you know what I'm saying? Like those type guys, And what do they have to say, But what they say, a sucker's born every minute, okay? And we're all left behind. Let's talk about reality. Let's talk about what's really going on, okay? Let's talk about what's in the sky, all right? Let's get to Revelation 9 and 16. You might want to check on your Christian brothers and sisters. They are not okay. They put themselves out there that this was the rapture. It obviously is not. and they're, stuck like Chuck. Well, the government did shut down. Things are falling apart though. You know what I mean? We just don't know the day and time. The government shut down a bunch of uh, airplanes that fuel jets in the sky, made a beeline over to the Middle East. Trump is increasingly blowing up fishermen in Venezuela, trying to provoke Maduro into a war, saying he's possibly looking into regime change in Venezuela. The Department of War head, Pete Hegseth, or whatever his name is, they call him Hangover Hegseth, told every general, even in hot war zones, to come on over so we can talk about, how you guys got to lose weight and do more push-ups and stuff like that. So, yeah, the country is collapsing. America's collapsing and the world is collapsing, but having a date, it's not going to work out. Okay. Let's bring that out, Revelation King.
God, let's look at Revelations chapter 9 and verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them.
200 million angels. Go ahead.
And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issue fire and smoke and brimstone.
Let's talk about it. All right. They are orbs that switch over and change change shape. And they started in New Jersey, oddly enough, right? North Jersey at that. You already know what that is. Know what that's about, right? So started at North Jersey, went through the whole state of New Jersey, was seen in was it Germany and I believe France, and then it kind of slowed up, right? Now they're in Denmark. And the amazing part about this, right? You went from North Jersey, right? New Jerusalem to Denmark. The ones in Denmark, some people are blaming on the Russians. Now we know it's not the Russians. You know how? Because when Russians, it's the most watched place in the world right now. It's a huge war zone. Okay, so when the Russians launch anything, they're like, okay, incoming missiles coming from Russia, incoming drones coming from Russia. They just don't show up at the Denmark airport, and people are like, well, how'd they get here? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't work that way. And you can't find out where it goes. You don't know where it came from. And it just sits in the air for hours at a time. Yeah, that's not a drone. Okay. But let's watch this video. He explains it pretty well.
Wake up, people. Something is much more significant here than we're being allowed to know. Why are governments persistently trying to blame Russia and China? I know it's an easy default explanation, but if you remember, there was that Representative Jeff Van Drew in Congress in North America who came out and said that the drones over New Jersey were an Iranian mothership. That never came to anything either. At what stage do we start seriously questioning the veracity of government statements when they issue so many contradictory assertions? Remember, we were told that the drones over New Jersey were FAA authorized research drones, which was a total lie. The FAA came out and categorically denied that they had authorized any overflights in that area.
Germany's interior minister said Saturday that it has noticed an increased presence of drones over parts of the country in recent days. Describing the threat level as high, the minister said that Berlin will be adopting measures to protect itself in response. Take a listen to him earlier.
We note a permanent hybrid threat. It's about sabotage and espionage. Everyone could hear in the past few days that there has been an increased use of drones over parts of Germany. Unsere Nachbarländer berichten.
Our neighboring countries are also reporting an increase in drones with varying degrees of effectiveness.
Es geht ein Wettrüsten.
We're witnessing an armament race,
Ein Wettrüsten.
an arms race between drone threats and drone defense.
Abwehr. Darauf
We must prepare ourselves for this, a race that we must not lose.
wir nicht verlieren.
And that is why we need to upgrade our technology.
Aufzurüsten.
Well, that announcement from the German Interior Minister came just hours after Denmark made a similar claim. The Nordic country's defense ministry saying that drones were observed at several of its facilities overnight on Friday, following a series of sightings across the country earlier this week.
These incursions, whatever they are, may not necessarily be drones. There are people that have described to me seeing orb-like objects coming into airspace and then in some way morphing into shapes of aircraft. I have people that have shown me images of what look like the shapes of a 737 or a commercial passenger jet moving at impossibly slow speeds over parts of New Jersey and New York. It's the same in Copenhagen. Martin tells me that some of the witnesses in Copenhagen estimated the size of this object as the size of an A380 aircraft, the largest commercial passenger jet. Whatever these objects are, I really think we're at the stage where we need to stop swallowing and just accepting glibly the explanations from government agencies.
NATO says it will conduct even more enhanced vigilance and ramp up its air defenses in the Baltic Sea in direct response to drone incursions into Europe this week. Molly Hunter is in London for us tonight. Molly, what's the latest?
Jose, in the last 24 hours, police say unidentified drones were spotted near Denmark's main military base. And earlier this week, drone sightings shut down the NATO country's biggest airport. The Danish prime minister was clear, saying there is one main country that poses a threat to Europe's security, and it is Russia. A reminder, earlier this month, NATO fighter jets shot down Russian drones over Polish airspace, raising alarm across the continent. And today, Russia's top diplomat, Sergei Lavrov, told the UN any aggression against his country will be met with a decisive response.
Which is really quite extraordinary. I find it amazing. And this has happened with regular frequency right across the United States. Despite the assertions being made by the White House and by different parts of the Pentagon and by the Federal Aviation Administration in America, these drone sightings are still happening, so-called drones. I don't believe they are drones. Increasingly, I think the evidence suggests that they are certainly some kind of craft. But why would any foreign state actor, even a foreign adversary actor, want to put highly sensitive, clearly highly advanced technology over civilian airspace in Denmark, for heaven's sake? To what end? For what purpose? That's what fascinates me.
We have nothing to hide. We never attack. Civilian objects, incidents happen, but we never conduct targeted fire on them. We never direct our drones or missiles at states located in Europe and members of the European Union and countries of the North Atlantic Alliance. And once again, if the Poles really wanted to figure this out, we would have proposed a meeting. Immediately proposed a meeting. But no one ever wants to discuss the facts.
So, you know, people are blaming Russia. They're like, yo, why would we do this over civilian airspace? Well, you know what I mean? Because the possibility that a plane could run into one of these drones or, you know, run out of fuel or anything could happen where civilians are, you know, burning in flames. So, you know, Sergei Lavrov, like, yo, well, think about it. We're fighting, you know, a war. Sometimes civilians get hurt, but we don't purposely try to hurt civilians. Why don't you talk to us about it? So this is causing an internal rift in NATO, right? Of it's the who's on these drones. Let's all blame Russia, but what if it's not Russia? You know what I mean? And Russia's like, look, man, we're in a war right now. We ain't got time to be playing around with y'all. So these drones have strategically been placed by someone in a very delicate situation where it could cause World War III. Let's read verse 18, King.
Revelation 9 and 18. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths.
Khan, this is about to cause World War III. You know, this is increasing the odds of somebody hitting the nuclear button. All right. And you're gonna really see who's raptured, who's taken up in that day, because if you ain't with them, you're gonna burn. Okay. So let's continue to watch the rest of this, and then we'll move on to other pressing topics.
To default immediately to, it must be the Ruskies, it must be the Chinese. And then they start saying, oh, it was misidentifications, it was civilian aircraft. You're a bunch of hysterics, you got it all wrong. There is clearly something invading the airspace of certain nations around the world. It's actually happening in Russia, China, Japan. It's happening everywhere. It has diminished a lot since the November, December, January incidents over the north of America, but it's still happening. And the interesting thing is nobody has ever provided a shred of proof to establish that Russia, China, or any foreign state adversary is responsible for these incursions, which, if you think about it, is insane. If something the size of an A380 was coming into the airspace of Copenhagen's airport, you would know for a fact that any kind of aircraft would be seen on radar, early detected, jets would be scrambled, the source and the origin of the drone or object or whatever it is would be traced. That hasn't happened. Wake up, people.
So as for the Danish case then goes, still no news on who might be responsible.
No, no response from anybody to say they were responsible either for the attacks in Germany, which took place in the Schleswig-Holstein state, which is pretty close to the border with Denmark, or also in Denmark, where we've seen fresh attacks overnight in several areas, notably at the Skub Air Base and the Jutland Dragoon Regiment, and also, more importantly, this hasn't been confirmed by the Danish authorities, but by local media, that there was a sighting of drones at the Karup Air Base, which is situated in the center of the country. This is the main air base in Denmark, the biggest military air base, and that's why the authorities are being a bit tight-lipped about it, but the reports from local authorities say that there were drones both inside and outside of that air base, but still no claim of responsibility from anybody for these drone attacks. That hasn't stopped the authorities in both Germany, as we've just been hearing, and also in Denmark from pointing the finger indirectly at the Russians. The Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, said Denmark had been a victim of hybrid attacks, which he said could then multiply.
We don't know yet, and that's the whole point. Why are governments repeatedly, as happened in CONUS in the United States, asserting that these objects, I'm not going to call them drones, are in fact linked to foreign state actors like Russia or China? Where is the evidence? As the president has said, they don't know what it is. Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about how in Copenhagen, Denmark, on September 22nd through to 23rd this year, there were sightings of 2 to 3 large unidentified objects near the Copenhagen airport in Denmark. It shut down that airport for 4 hours and about 100 flights were disrupted. And there were similar disruptions. There were follow-on disruptions at other airports around Scandinavia. Now, the Danish authorities immediately referred to it as an attack, and they're pointing the finger at Russia. And there's suggestions that because there was a bulk Russian carrier crewed by Russian crewmen about 80 kilometers away, that somehow these dastardly Ruskies have been able to insert a drone into some of the most secure airspace in Denmark, a country which has some of the world's best radar, and somehow get those drones in without detection and out without detection. This strains credibility.
So there is a big investigation going on as to who could be responsible for all of this and how long this is going to last for. But I think what is safe to say is that these drone attacks over the last few days have opened up the possibility or the fear that Europe is very vulnerable, that this wasn't seen as something that was going to happen or could have happened, but not on such a strong level. And I think this has been a wake-up call. The problem is that the drones, for the moment, they can get through detection of radar, and they're quite hard to identify and also can cause damage if they are shot down. That's why the Danish authorities so far say they haven't shot down any drones, because they don't want them to cause damage or hit an aeroplane. And all the drones have gone back to where they came from, and they haven't been identified. So I think this is an ongoing situation, but the finger is pretty much being pointed at Russia right now.
I am being told by multiple sources we have no idea what was responsible for the New Jersey incursions and the incursions that are still ongoing across different parts of the United States, including over military bases. I've spoken to somebody 2 days ago who's been sending me videos from Florida near Eglin Air Force Base. These incursions, whatever they are, may not necessarily be drones. There are people that have described to me seeing orb-like objects coming into airspace and then in some way morphing into shapes of aircraft.
So it's time now for something to be done. And one other element is that really, I think there is a fear that if something's done isn't done quickly, then this could all spiral out of control.
Absolutely. Okay. Can you read verse 19?
Con 19.
Con.
For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt.
Con. You could look at, you know, they morph into planes, to different aerial apparatuses, and it could turn to a ball of light. When they're ready to shoot at them, they disappear, or they turn off all their lights. They can't see them anymore. They said, oh, you have permission to shoot them down. Now they're saying, oh, we don't want to shoot them down because it could be dangerous. You can't shoot them down. That's the same thing that happened in New Jersey. All right. And when they're on go and can, you know, shoot out a laser beam, then everybody's going to know what time it is. All right. Can we read verse 20?
Verse 20. And the rest of the men which were not killed by the plagues yet repented not of the workers of their hands, that they could not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk.
So people aren't repenting. They're just like, okay, yeah, they're drones. That's the new word for them now, drones, right? Can we read verse 21?
Neither repented they of their murderers, nor of their sorcerers, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be moving anybody anyway towards a more heavenly presence. You know what I'm saying? A more holy stance on life. You know, it's just, yeah, we don't know what they are, but you know, I think the Giants are playing this week. You know what I'm saying? They're not repenting. You know, Christians only start acting more Christianly when they thought that Jesus was coming. And then they realize he's not coming right at the time that they say he's coming. Yeah, right back being the same demons they were, buying the newest Charlie Kirk album, you know what I'm saying? What he has to say. So, just got to find out the hard way. Let's go to Mark chapter 13 and verse 37. The next aerial phenomenon we're going to talk about is Three-Eye Atlas. All right. A lot of controversy surrounding this one. It's all good. We're going to look at the Harvard, what is he? Astrophysicist or whatever, you know what I'm saying? We're going to Avi Loeb. We're going to listen to what he says the latest what's going on with this thing. Michikashi, Japanese guy, astrophysicist or something to that effect. he says that it's getting closer to Earth. You know, to my understanding, I heard somebody quote him and say that that's actually moving closer to Earth. So it's like actually getting a different orbit as of right now. If that's true, I'll talk more about it at a later date, but I just want to bring that out because it seems like this thing is doing everything other than what a comet should do. All right. Go ahead, King. You can bring that out.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 37. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch.
Watch. Okay. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say this is Yahushua coming back. But what I am going to say is it is not acting like a comet. Okay. To my understanding, what comets look like, you know, with the tail and everything like that, the tail is actually in front of Three-Eye Atlas. That is weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like your propulsion system is or not your propulsion system, but if you're going very, very fast, you know what I'm saying? You're running, you have this baggy shirt, the shirt should be flowing through the back like that. You know what I'm saying? If it's flowing up to the front while you're running fast, like that goes against everything I was taught in school. You know what I'm saying? So this is what this thing is doing. All right, let's get Habakkuk 2:1, and we're going to play the next clip. Now, this is Avi Loeb discussing Three-Eye Atlas.
You floated the possibility that Three-Eye Atlas is alien technology in order to distract us from the Epstein files. My response to that is go to Amazon right now and purchase a 0.5 meter telescope, because that would allow you to see the object in the sky. I cannot really fake it. It's not something I can create with a Jewish laser. Because it's so far away, it's like 4 times the Earth-Sun separation. And the Hubble Space Telescope, the Webb Telescope, are looking at it in the context of Three-Eye Atlas. This is the 3rd interstellar object discovered on July 1st, 2025. And what was special about it, first of all, the brightness was so large that if you were to assume it's a solid object, it had to have a diameter of 20 kilometers. That's bigger than Manhattan Island, twice as big as the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. And it's just extremely rare. Okay, so I calculated, well, first of all, there should have been hundreds of thousands of Oumuamua-sized objects. That was just the size of a football field, 100 meters or so. And there are many more small objects than big rocks. But more importantly, the interstellar space can deliver a rock of 20 kilometers at best once per 10,000 years. If you take all the rocky material, pack it into 20-kilometer rocks, once per 10,000 years, you can get one to cross the inner solar system at the speed of Three-Eye Atlas. And we saw it after 1 decade of surveying the sky. So that was unusual. And then more dramatically, the trajectory of this object is exactly aligned with a plane in which the planets orbit the sun to within 5 degrees. And, you know, that coincidence is 1 in 500. Okay, for it to lie exactly in the plane, it means that along its path, it can come very close to several planets. In fact, it comes very close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. And it wouldn't be able to do that if it came at an angle. And moreover, it arrives closest to the sun when the Earth is on the opposite side of the sun. So we won't be able to observe it. And that's the best point to make a maneuver using the sun's gravity. Moreover, it came from a direction in the sky that is full of stars. It's the direction of the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And so I was a co-author of a paper that said, is Three-Eye Atlas alien technology? And of course, you know, if it is alien technology, you can't do the calculation of the mass in rocks in interstellar space because this object is targeting the inner solar system. And, you know, it will pass closest to the sun on October 29th, 2025. I got a text message the other day from someone who said that he is trading options on the volatility of the market with an expiration date of October 29th in order to make money. And I immediately thought that I don't know if there will be meaning to money if this object turns out to be technological after October 29th. If you want to take a vacation, take it before that date, because who knows what will happen. Now, it could be a mothership that releases mini probes, that they come to Earth. The Galileo project that I'm leading is looking for unidentified anomalous phenomena, and we have now 3 observatories, and we will check if after October there is more activity. That would be interesting to check. But as of now, people, astronomers, what you will hear is the sort of the party claim that this is a comet. A comet, by the way, just like a zebra is identified by its stripes, you tell it by the cometary tail. Okay, that's what distinguishes a comet. And in this case, just yesterday, there was the first analysis of the image from the Hubble Space Telescope of this object. And guess what? There is no tail. But more importantly, there is glow in front of the object instead of behind it.
It's got headlights. It's got headlights. You're not celebrating Halloween this year. That's the take-home message.
Just as celebrating Halloween would be dangerous any year, but the time that a mysterious interstellar rock with no comet tail that is glowing in front of it, it's a good time not to celebrate Halloween, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a bunch of mass shootings that day.
English to English translation, if I'm summarizing, there is a large rock that most scientists think is a comet that is bigger than the size of Manhattan, hurling towards space or hurling through space, potentially towards the Earth, that you believe may be alien technology, potentially a mothership that does not have any of the signs of a comet, but has headlights potentially or a glow in front of it. And it's scheduled to arrive potentially on Earth on October 29th? Is that accurate?
Not to Earth, but to get closest to the sun along its path.
But Avi, it's going to appear when we can't see it, which would be the best time for it to make a sneaky maneuver.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you can argue like my colleagues do and say, the trajectory, it's just a random trajectory that happens to be fine-tuned and so perfectly aligned with all these planets. And, it's a coincidence that it happened to come closest to the sun when we can't see it. And it's a coincidence that it passes near all these other planets. By the way, even if you take this trajectory and just arrange for a random arrival time, you get 1 in 20,000 chance of it coming as close as it does to Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. It just fine-tuned in the sense that it also comes closest to those planets. Those planets are moving around the sun, in a circle, each of them. And they get to the point where 3i Atlas is just when it arrives there. Like, how can that happen?
Maybe you're crazy. Maybe they're just going to say, Avi's crazy. But is this sort of the way we have to think? Meaning, if you're going to open up the possibility that there's extraterrestrial life, it's got 1 million or billion years of head start on us, you have to open your mind to the possibility of what if. And so every time you see something that we can't yet explain or we can't yet measure, we get to open our minds and say, what if? What are the possibilities? What's the clinical, scientific, quantifiable way to examine it rather than just dismiss it?
Yeah, or assume that it's the same as we have seen before, because that's the usual approach of scientists, of anyone. And my point is that, in fact, I suggested establishing a new scale between 0 and 10, which is now called the Loeb scale, because I suggested it a month ago, and there was actually a paper yesterday that I co-authored about it. And the idea is 0 would be an object that definitely shows a cometary tail, okay, or looks like an asteroid, has all the characteristics that we are familiar with of a rock or an icy rock. That's 0. And 10 would be an object that is definitely technological because it maneuvers or has some artificial lights or has some unusual shape or transmits signals, something, or has, releases much more heat than you expect from.
Okay, so we're gonna get back to Avi, right? Let me just see if I can find this picture. This was one of the original pictures about Three-Eye Atlas. Now you look at this and you let me know what you think this looks like. All right. And clearly looks unique. Now it's going to pass by Mars coming up October 4th, right around the time of Feast of Tabernacles. Okay. And that should, here we go. I should give us another look at this object, if you will. Now look at this thing. Now you tell me, am I tripping? The heck does that look like? What? No, that's not normal. We're not supposed to be seeing stuff like that and say that's a comet. That looks nothing like a comet. I mean, I'm not saying I'm an expert on comets, but damn it, I'm not naive. I've seen Halley's Comet and everything, pictures of comets. That thing looks like a chariot, like a big chariot at that. Okay. So let's go back to Avi. You know what I'm saying? Now let's listen to Avi with a little bit more, Avi might know what he's talking about. Okay. And I have another video because now people are saying that it's coming from the same direction as the WOW symbol. If anybody knows what the WOW symbol was, 1977, Ohio State got a burst of energy coming from a space that's supposed to be real quiet and not supposed to be doing anything. But that, and he or she wrote next to the data, wow. So we're gonna hear the WOW symbol and we have Ivy talk about it in a little bit.
The solar illumination, it has some engine that gives it additional heat. All of these signatures would raise a flag. And if it looks like it's technological, then there needs to be an organization that is international, because the aliens do not care how we split territories on this rock that we were born on. There is much more real estate out beyond Earth, and they would be completely amazed that we are worried.
They're like hippies. They don't believe in borders.
So just notice her chain around her neck. She's Jewish, and Avi Loeb is also Jewish, and she kind of like throw a little shot, like, oh, like hippies, right? You don't believe in borders because they're hippies. And Avi Loeb's like, yeah, space is vast. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fighting over a little piece of land or killing the blowing up the people in Gaza for standing in line to get some food because you want that beach shore property. You know what I'm saying? But we all know in the whole scheme of things, what Amos talks about, through the words of the Most High God, Gaza's getting destroyed. Let's go.
No, I mean, what we decide here on Earth is very local. We are obsessed with it. All our geopolitics is all about territories, and they would think, who cares? This is a tiny rock out of billions of them out there. But so they would not distinguish us based on the nation that we belong to. So therefore, it will be a problem of humanity as a whole. And this organization needs to be international. So my recommendation is there should be an organization because, we are worried about.
That would be the Hebrew Israelites. Welcome, our brothers. Come on down. Take over. We started it up through Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Knock them down. Okay. So let me show you the WOW symbol. Okay. This is the WOW symbol.
You floated the possibility that
Slovakia. If anybody's not aware of what it is or when it showed up, very interesting stuff. And apparently it came from from like Sagittarius, the star group of Sagittarius, and the chances, and this is where Three-Eye Atlas is coming from, and they're saying like the chances of this happening is very, very slim. But let's watch this. This is the WOW symbol.
Just a few days ago, I realized that back on August 15th, 1977, there was a very famous flare in the radio signal that was given the name the WOW signal, because the observers that recorded it at Ohio State University was stunned at how powerful this signal was, and wrote "wow" in the document that records that signal, and so it's called the WOW signal from 1977. And I checked it. Turns out that it came from about the same direction in the sky as 3I Atlas, within 9 degrees. And the chance for a random alignment of the two directions of 9 degrees or so is 0.6%. So the question arises whether this WOW signal from 1977 was transmitted by 3I Atlas. We don't know. And there was no report on radio observations of 3I Atlas so far. So I'm encouraging radio astronomers around the world to check out whether there is any radio transmission from 3I Atlas. I calculated that back in 1977, the object was 600 times farther from us than the sun is. And that was a large distance. And presumably, if it had transmitted that signal, it had quite a powerful transmitter, about 1 gigawatt, according to my calculations, which is comparable to the power output of a nuclear reactor that we have on Earth.
1.1 gigawatts. Okay, so there's the WOW signal, possibly coming from 3I Atlas. Let's get Habakkuk 2:1, King. You know, got to talk about it. You know, got to talk about it. Kai, you can bring it out.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved.
So me personally haven't really gotten too much data, you know, from outside sources regarding 3I Atlas, but aiming for it, okay? Let's figure out what exactly is going on. Whatever it is, it's unique, and it's something we got to keep an eye out. Now, if you're everything is, what's it called? Blue beam, you know what I mean? Every chariot, everything you see in the sky is blue beam type Israelite, then, you know, be my guest. But everything is not blue beam. You know what I'm saying? There are chariots in the sky. There are angels that fly in them. So have to look into it with an open mind. You know what I'm saying? 2 to 3 eyes open. Get it? 3I Atlas. Ha ha ha. But got to pay attention to see what's going on and what the Most High is trying to say. Now, could it be Esau doing something diabolical? Of course, there's always that possibility. So either way, it's something you just got to look at. You know what I mean? You don't want to, I'm not paying attention to that. Check it out. Now, be aware that on, you know, YouTube or whatever, you have a lot of AI generated 3I Atlas videos. So if you get like a real, it's like a mundane, monotone type Edomite voice, it's probably AI. You know what I mean? You start to see, if you look at the page and it's nothing but 3I Atlas videos it's like 5,000 videos just purely on 3I Atlas. That's AI just constantly dishing out things. Not saying the stuff there isn't true, but you want to kind of go to the people on the ground and actually pay attention to this thing. Ivy Loeb and who else? There's another guy, I can't think of his name, but he talks a lot about the sun and geomagnetic storms, windstorms, and all that. Apparently, the sun dished out this huge storm towards 3I Atlas, and it just took it and just kept it going. But it says if that would have happened to a regular comet, it would have broken it apart, and you know, wouldn't be going as fast or still in structure that it is. But of course, it is. You know what I mean? So, like the scriptures say, it's going to watch out for it. Keep an eye out on it. All right. let's continue. Let's move on to earthquake news. Okay, whole lot of shaking going on in the Philippines on, you guessed it, the Day of Atonement. So the day that we're all fasting and atoning for our sins, the Most High found it necessary to shake up those people in the Philippines. And apparently, so perfect aim that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has, Meghan Markle's father, Faja, that is stuck in a building on a 19th floor and cannot get out. He can't move, he can't walk, this, that, and the third. Who's Meghan Markle? Just in case you didn't know, she's the person that married Prince Henry or Charles or one of them. I think it's Henry, the guy that dressed up like a Nazi one year for Halloween. She decides to marry him. But you might think like, oh, well, she's a black woman. Go ahead, girl. You know what I'm saying? Eve was all hype. Yeah, divest. Get yourself a racist Nazi wearing prince. You know what I'm saying? Prince quotation marks from the UK or whatever, right? She's an Edomite too, because dad's an Edomite. Mom is, I believe, Benjamin or something to that effect. She might be Judah. I'm not sure. I think she's Benjamin though. But so she's Esau. So her Edomite father was in the Philippines and he's stuck in a high-rise building. Talk about aim on the Day of Atonement. Okay, so there's a couple places in the Philippines where these islands took place, where this large earthquake. It started off at 7.0 and then it got downgraded to 6.9. 7, I was like, oh, all right, completion. 6.9, I said, I got a scripture for that. All right, so it's the 3 islands are Cebu, and that means, and I looked up the names of these islands, what they mean. That means wade in the water. Remember that? Wade in the water, right? Old Negro spiritual. The next island is called Negros, right? That is named by Spanish colonizers after the indigenous Negroto people. And these people were dark-skinned people. And Negroto means little black person. Okay. So wade in the water, little black person, and light, Leite, if I'm saying it right. And that means lens. Can you see? You see what the Most High is cooking? All right, let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 6. And we will go after this, check out the video, because these heathens are perplexed. They're in bad shape. You know what I mean? When you see this video, it's like, wow, that had to be rough. You know what I mean? Because they're just like sitting in the middle of the street and like kind of like shaking. There's people running back and forth, and their chairs are falling down off the steps, and they're just hugging each other in the middle. It had to be rough. So on our Day of Atonement, heathens got their heathen wake-up call. Okay? Wade in the water, Negroes. Do you see? All right, let's bring that out, King. 2nd Ezra 6 and 6.
It's the book of 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 6 and verse 6. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other.
God, who could just cause a 6.9 magnitude earthquake to shake up the heathen? It's the Most High. Go ahead, King.
Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?
A lot of prophets have asked that question. When is it going to happen? Go ahead.
And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
Khan, read on.
For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Khan, 6.9 magnitude earthquake. I say, you know, that's a scripture about that. Let's talk about it. Let's go to Acts 16 and verse 26. And the 3 islands, I don't know, you can put them in different category, different ways if you want. You know, the sea, can you see? Negroes, wade in the water. Can you, however you want to match them up. Those are the 3 islands, and that's what they mean. Highly unique. God don't make no mistakes, okay? Pure and simple. All right. And we're all fasting on this day. You know what I'm saying? That's gotta click in somewhere. Like, you think God did that because of that? Yes. Yes. Come on. Walk with me with this. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens. This is what it is. You read the scriptures and we're living the scriptures right now. This is the Acts the Apostle 2.0. You know what I'm saying? It might be in a new edition add-on to the scriptures because it says no longer we're going to talk about what happened out of ancient Egypt. It's going to happen out of the land of the north. All right. So we're writing scriptures right now by the obviously the power, strength and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, the day that we're all fasting on the Day of Atonement, huge earthquake happens, right? And those are the three islands condensed that where the magnitude earthquake was pronounced, okay? Where's the strongest, okay? Let's bring that out. Acts chapter 16 and verse 26.
This is the book of Acts 16 and 26. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundation of the prison was shaken. And immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's bands were loosened.
So we talk about Paul and Silas being locked up, and they're praising Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and an earthquake happened, and loose the bounds, the bands were loosed, and they're gates are open in the prison, right? We get all right. Well, hold that. We're gonna come back to that, but let's go to Isaiah 61 verse 1. This is the symbology of it all. Okay, we're looking at the symbolic aspect, the spiritual aspect of this. You know what I mean? You got those, asking for the most high for forgiveness, right? And when you fast, also, it gets rid of the evil spirits that are around you, right? I said, these only leave, paraphrasing, through prayer and fasting. Okay. Let's get that. Let's bring that out. Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
The opening of the prison, them are bound. So you have a higher power that is listening to you. All you got to do is pray and fast and read the scriptures. Obviously, following the law, statutes, commandments. That's first and foremost. But when you fast and you pray, good things happen. Okay, and I hope this one story is enough to propel you to fast more, pray more, read the scriptures, follow the law, statutes, commandments, and watch the sparks fly. Just like David said, 2 Samuel 22, I believe, where he says, I prayed to the Most High, and bam, an earthquake happened. Okay, paraphrasing. But that's serious. It's seriously legit. That's the real deal. Okay. Can you read verse 2?
Verse 2. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to confront all that mourn.
To comfort all that mourn, right? So the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance. Okay, this is vengeance time. The heathens got dismayed. Let's watch that. Okay. They're in bad shape. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's rough. It's rough. If you got a love for heathens, you might want to turn away. It's like, no, watch it. Random chairs just falling down the steps. They ain't looking too good. One boy was holding his head. I don't know if that's gonna stop a brick from, bashing his skull in, but he might have been through this before. But yeah, so this is on the Day of Atonement. Do you know what I'm saying? Yo, trust me when I tell you, if you didn't believe, you should believe the scriptures, but you know what I'm saying? If you don't have your faith is kind of lagging behind or whatever like that, yo, God is listening. You know what I mean? These so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, you got to follow the laws of the Most High God, and your prayers pierce the clouds. 6.9 magnitude earthquake. There's some more. Some more on this too.
Earthquake, earthquake. Got it. Earthquake. Uy, at least earthquake, earthquake.
Wow. My gosh.
Crazy.
So crazy. Wow.
Scary.
I also so scared.
That's why it also pays to have some flashlights and stuff available in the time period we living in, right?
Sometimes happens, but not like that. You feeling?
Not here, but upstairs, it's really strong.
Imagine God just shaking the land underneath you.
Wala pa na magsuot, sir. Wala pa na magkuhan.
Look at that. Ain't gonna be no church this Sunday.
San Martin.
They gonna break all the idols, right? Ain't no Virgin Mary. Might playing no Virgin Mary or no white Jesus. They gotta sweep that out. Somebody gotta sweep them up. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna sweep themselves up since they're idols made with hands made out of clay and all the other stuff, right? Okay. Let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3. Moving into the next segment, okay? So the death rate or whatever, you see the buildings collapsed. I don't think it's officially out. I can look that up. But with large earthquakes, you could expect a bunch of aftershocks. You get the initial 6.9 out the way. Now it's the aftershocks that just crumble you. You know what I'm saying? Little at a time. Might be a little crack in the wall with the 6.9, and then you get a 6.0. Then you get a 5.2. Then you get a 6.5. You know what I mean? It'll be large aftershocks that just start decimating the area. Okay, so happy Day of Atonement, everyone. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we are on the same page that when we fast together, amazing things happen in the planet. All right, no accidents. All right, King, let's bring that out in Ezra, Bubba Shaw.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 9 and verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world,
Go ahead.
Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning.
Khan. Speaking from the beginning. Khan, them idols the Ammonites was using, right? The Dagon before the Ark of the Covenant crumbled. All praises to the Most High by Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Khan. All right, let's go to Psalm chapter 56 and verse 3. So, like I was talking about earlier, the Christians, apparently they're paying attention. I guess everybody has to be paying attention at this point. You know what I'm saying? If you're an atheist, you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? So the one thing that happened is bringing all the generals from all over the world to one place, I believe in Quantico, Virginia, is at the CIA headquarters or FBI headquarters, I believe. FBI, I believe. So, and had a pretty much a pep rally with the generals. You know what I'm saying? It's possibility to getting them riled up. It's Department of War. We're here to win. You know, because Venezuela might be next. Looks like Israel might strike Iran again. China is still bullying Taiwan. I'm saying that right. But they might have been seeing this and saying, like, what's going on? You know, this never happens. Very rare. In fact, I don't think it's ever happened before. All the generals being in one spot at one time. Not in, modern history, right? So this is the end, saying, this is it's over with. But what does the Most High God say? Let's bring that out, King. First.
The book of Psalms 56. And what was the verse again?
Verse 3.
Verse 3. So like, there's the book of Psalms 56 and 3. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And God, I will praise his word. In God, I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me.
What are you afraid of? You know what I'm saying? All these generals, they're all supposed to fight against the Most High anyway, right? That's the plan. And then they're going to be turned into dust, okay? Lit up with thermonuclear destruction. And, people are going to be going from the Third World War and say, oh, we got to fight this. We got to fight what's outside of our atmosphere or whatever, outside the earth. And they're going to lose, okay? So we understand these scriptures. We understand what's about to happen. So what are you afraid of? Okay. Let's go to Joshua 1 and 9. Let's play the video of Donald J. Trump and Pete Hegseth. They call it Hangover Hegseth. Talking to the rallying the troops.
President Trump delivering a partisan address to hundreds of America's top military officials at a Marine Corps base in Quantico, Virginia yesterday. He spoke for over an hour, touching on a number of topics from conflicts overseas to wars he claims he's stopped. Trump also recounted familiar partisan complaints about President Biden, as well as the 2020 election he lost, to what he didn't like about how his predecessors walked downstairs to making Canada the 51st state, really playing the hits. He also discussed that he told Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to use American cities as training grounds for the military.
The Democrats run most of the cities that are in bad shape. We have many cities in great shape too, by the way. I want you to know that. But it seems that the ones that are run by the radical left Democrats, what they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places. And we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war too. It's a war from within. Controlling the physical territory of our border is essential.
So you got the sitting president of the United States of America, saying that there's a war from within. So there's enemies here. Wonder what they look like. If they say they're leftists, that's just another way of saying black, the radical left. Like we're the perpetual Democrats. You know what I'm saying? We just vote Democrat. It don't matter who's running. It could be a daggone plush toy running for president, and Negroes are going to vote for him. Oh, it's a Democrat. What, you like the Republicans or something? So, what is he planning? Probably the same thing they've always been planning, making America white again. I mean, making America great again. So does that supposed to scare you? Or is that let you know that prophecy is being fulfilled? That the Most High God is going to have your back as long as you follow these law, statutes, commandments. You know, should make you want to be a part of that 144, you know, 144,000, you know. You look around your block, you look around your job, you look around the mall, you go to the mall, how many people are wearing fringes? How many people come up to you on a daily basis and say shalom? It's like just you in your neighborhood for the most part. So that should let you know how important you are. So stay focused and don't let these Edomites try to knock you off your square. You know what I mean? You fasting and there's earthquakes happening. Can't make that up. Let's continue.
To national security. But I want to salute every service member who has helped us carry out this critical mission. It's really a very important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military.
Somebody tells you who they are, believe them, right? Somebody tells you they're about to do something, I'm about to pull out this gun and shoot you. You be like, nah, I don't believe you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody tell you they're going to do something, you might want to believe them. Especially this guy. I'll give him one thing. He's a president that tries to do the things that he says. The things he say are blatantly racist and ignorant and pig-headed and dumb, but nevertheless, he still aims to do it. All right? So if he says he's going to turn the American cities into training grounds, and it's all the places where your Black, Hispanic, and Native American behind is, it's time to get closer to God.
Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid.
I want to bring in staff writer at The Atlantic covering national security and the Defense Department, Nancy Youssef. So, Nancy, there were a lot of questions in the lead up to this of why is Pete Hegseth calling all of these generals back to Washington from their posts? There's operational security concerns. There were concerns about if they were getting fired, if there would be some kind of a loyalty oath that they had to sign. Ultimately, this probably could have been an email, which would be the joke, except for the way that the president is breaking with so many norms by addressing these leaders and giving such a partisan speech. What was your takeaway? And then what were these military officials telling you?
So it could have been an email. It also could have been Hegseth's book that he put out, War on Warriors. I mean, everything that was touched on in that speech was part of his book. And so I think the big focus for the secretary was optics, how generals look. And I think perhaps this meeting was an optic one. The idea of having generals in the room, the huge American flag backdrop. And so this seemed to be the secretary sort of trying to show through optics his ability to lead, his vision for the United States military in a very unconventional form. We haven't seen this kind of gathering throughout 20 years of the war on terror. It really was unprecedented.
And I think maybe if it was just Hegseth doing this, it wouldn't have raised as many alarm bells. But the fact that the president came in, gave that address, and the headline on your story is that there's hundreds of generals try to keep a straight face. But at the same time, when he's talking about American cities being a training ground for the military, in this environment, knowing the deep concerns that states and other entities have about this incursion of the federal government, what does that say? I mean, what were these officials telling you after they left or even going in?
Well, as you noted, they were really nervous in the run up to it because they didn't know what was going to happen. And the president's speech was announced after Hegseth's speech. So they got the email saying that they were summoned to the Quantico, and that after that, they learned that the president would be speaking there. And I think a lot of the generals tried to treat this as an opportunity to show that the military remained apolitical. You'll remember in June that the president went to Fort Bragg, and you had lower-ranking troops cheering, hooting, hollering, and even wearing merchandise, Trump merchandise, over their uniforms. So I think a lot of them saw this as their chance to say, we are apolitical, and while we might not want to be here and be hearing these sort of very partisan comments, this is our way to show the force that this is the expectation and how you behave when you find yourself in this situation, which increasingly might happen as we've seen under this administration.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring do Joshua 1 and 9.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 9. Have not I commanded thee?
Now, hold on. What did it say?
Have not I commanded thee?
Nah, it's the president that commands you.
Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest.
Yeah. We take our commands from Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Now it's going to be some people that are going to have to deal with the wrath of Esau because they're not coming back to the law, statutes, commandments, and that's our people. You know, 2/3 is a lot of people. Let's aim to not be in that number. We want to be in the number of the 144 and the 1/3 of all the children of Israel. Okay, so what else is going on? Squirrels. Squirrels is what's going on. Let's get Hosea 13 and verse 8. We got a squirrel problem going on in California. It's tearing Esau apart. I don't know if you know what can be done about it. What are you going to chase a squirrel? You're going to catch a squirrel? What if it's multiple squirrels that have all been activated and they are tearing Esau a new ear hole? Literally, Esau got his ear pierced by a squirrel, and it wasn't the only one. These squirrels is violent, they're vicious, and you know they've been activated. You know, they're like cells, like Chinese cells living in America that the Most High flipped the switch, and the teeth of wild beasts are tearing Esau a new ear hole. Go ahead, Ken, you can bring it out.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 13 and verse 8. I will meet them as a bear that is bereaved of her whelps, and I will rend the caul of her heart, of their heart, and there will I devour them like a lion. The wild beasts shall tear them.
So at this point, you know what I mean, Hosea talking about Ephraim wilding out, right? Being, you know, joined on the idols. But we do know that eventually it's going to be a flip. It's going to be, instead of the curses on us, the curse is going to be on them, and we're going to have the blessings. Let's get one of those blessings, Deuteronomy 28, verse 7. All right. Because who wants to fight a squirrel? You know how fast squirrels are? They run across like the telephone wires. They climb trees like it's nothing. And they got those claw grips that once they tear in you, you know, I mean, it never happened to me before, but I aim not to be tore up by a squirrel. I don't know if it's a fight I can win. As soon as you throw a punch, that squirrel's on your neck. You try to get to your neck, he's gripping your knee. He's all over the place, you know? But all praise, honor, and glory, the Most High got these squirrels fighting the good fight. Go ahead, Ken, you bring it out.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
So that's just completion. You know what I'm saying? That'd be 7. You run up on a squirrel, he gonna back you down. You know what I mean? And soon it's gonna be other wild beasts to tear Esau apart. But let's watch about this squirrel. You know?
Now to a story making international news. Squirrels on attack. Picture it. San Rafael, California, just outside of San Francisco. A handful of people in one neighborhood bit, scratched, some even ending up in the emergency room. Attack squirrels. No, really. Attack squirrels. And if you don't believe me, believe the sign.
Blocky, real quick, I just noticed that. Look at that. Look at that squirrel's. Look at his. Look at them claws, man. Them things is vicious. And look at his eyes. He's ready to go. He might have one of those things. Remember we were looking at the was it the rabbits and the deer? And there was something else. It was just protrusions all coming out their mouth and stuff. They're like zombie deers and zombie rabbits. And the squirrels, yeah, and the squirrels. It was a squirrel that had pus and pimples and all stuff all around them. Man, listen, they tired of Esau.
Attack squirrels. And if you don't believe me, believe the signs of neighbors warning neighbors and the neighbors themselves. 5 and counting. Some ending up in the emergency room, like Joe, who got his ear gnawed on and doesn't want to be on camera.
He came down on here and he started gnawing on this fence.
Wait, those are teeth marks?
Those are teeth marks.
You are kidding me.
No.
Damn.
So he come over here and he started gnawing again. I took my hat off to swat him off and he jumped on my head.
Joe's wife, Marie, watched what she calls a fast and mean attack.
Joe gets his baseball cap and hits it. And so she turns around and just jumps on his head, scratched his ear. And then she jumped on his leg. And so he tried to get her off.
Look at these photos taken of the squirrel just before that chunk out of Joe's fence and Joe's ear. A bigger squirrel than the others around here, say a lot of neighbors.
So that's when we went to ER. They thought, oh, yeah, it's a squirrel. They don't have rabies. So we thought, okay, that's it.
But that wasn't it. Look at this. The next day, the mean squirrel came back. Listen to Joe and Marie's grandchildren told to stay indoors.
That's the same one, I think.
Let me see. No, don't let him in.
She was on the side of our kitchen eating the mop. And it was like very hungry and wanted to be fed, I think.
Hangry. Angry and hungry.
Hungry and hungry, yeah.
So now the signs are up. Neighbors are warning neighbors to protect their people and their pets, and the Marin Humane Society posting signs too, even going door to door with warnings.
And we're also told, don't walk with shorts, don't walk with anything but heavy dungarees. And as you can see, I'm out here wearing jeans, not shorts.
You're keeping the rules.
I'm keeping the rules and I don't want to be bit.
You're not being squirrely.
Not being
Not being squirrely indeed. Okay, so as to the people who went to the emergency room, they did not get a rabies shot. Apparently, these squirrels are not vectors for rabies. And there have been no other sightings of that rather mean squirrel in San Rafael, California. Who said gentle people with flowers in their hair in Northern California? Maybe gentle people, but not a gentle squirrel.
God, okay, so the squirrels is out. The squirrels have been unleashed upon Esau. He said he hit him with the hat. The squirrel said, "What? Man, give me that ear." And then started biting his leg. You know what I mean? See them goofy kids? That's why you can't have no goofy kids at the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? They're like, open the door. He looks hungry. You know what I mean? As soon as he go upstairs, like, I just wanted to give him some food. And he got that crazy squirrel running all around the house. And he take over the entire house. You know what I mean? That's why you gotta teach your children. What's what scriptures say? You know what I mean? Tell your children. You know what I mean? You gotta listen to them. You gotta have the children listen to you. You know, might the use the rod every now and then, but you know, it would definitely help you in the long run. So your children ain't opening the door for freaky deaky Jason with an axe in his hand, like he said he was hungry, so I opened the door. You know what I mean? But that's the Edomite kids that are going to be putting their parents through it in these last days. All right, one more. Let's get Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 41. Feast of Tabernacles is quickly approaching. Everybody get ready, pack up, and you know what I mean? All that good stuff, because it's going to be a great time. And there's benefits. There's health benefits to camping. Who knew? Well, let's talk about it. You can bring that out, Leviticus 23, verse 41. You there, King?
Yeah, it's Salaki.
No problem.
This is the book of Leviticus 23 and 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generation. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month.
Go ahead.
Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
All praises. Okay. Now let's get the video. The Water King.
Most people go on camping trips because they're tired of the city or ready for an adventure. Whether you enjoy biking, hunting, or any other outdoor activity, camping offers you a way to focus completely on a hobby for a few days without external distractions. What you might not realize is that camping can help you live a longer, healthier life. 1. The fresh air. When you spend time near a lot of trees, you take in more oxygen. That feeling of happiness that you get when you take your first breath of air at the campground isn't all in your head. Well, technically it is, but it's a release of serotonin from the extra oxygen. Your body can function with less strain when there's plenty of oxygen. That's not the only benefit of fresh air. Research shows that some time outdoors can improve your blood pressure, improve digestion, and give your immune system an extra boost. When you spend a few days outside, you get some serious health benefits from the extra oxygen and low levels of pollutants. Two, socialization. Camping alone is plenty of fun, but if you bring along a friend or family member, you'll enjoy a unique experience together that will help you keep a healthy, happy relationship. Socializing can extend your lifespan and delay memory problems, according to research published in the American Journal of Public Health. And apart from the medical benefits, a few close relationships make life more fun. Invite a few friends on your next trip out. 3. Improved moods. Regular campers will often talk about how the first few days back from a trip seem happier. This isn't without merit. Spending some time outside in the sunlight can even out the levels of melatonin in your brain. Melatonin is the chemical that makes you feel tired and can induce feelings of depression. So by camping, you can enjoy better overall moods during and after your trip. 4. Less stress. Camping also allows you to cope with stress. Stress can negatively affect your health in just about every way possible, and you're putting much less strain on your mental and physical faculties by giving yourself some stress-free time at the campsite. The lack of stress is related to the rise in oxygen levels, higher levels of serotonin, and managed levels of melatonin mentioned above. There's also an emotional component at work here, since it's harder to be annoyed or angry when you're doing something that you enjoy.
All right, all praises to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Coming soon, coming soon. Okay, so we're gonna close out in prayer. Everybody that's on the YouTube, if you could like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And afterwards, come on over to the Zoom. We're going to have a real brief powwow regarding upcoming feast. All right. Komi Ashala, we got next. Dawada King for reading. All praise to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Many blessings to you and your family. Right.
Yonder yeah, about Shem Yahweh Shabrakatah. Good time, Kate.
All praises.
All praise.
All right, we're about to. So you want to stand and face the east, prostrate and face the east. We can close out in prayer. It's the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakbaka, Daba'a, Ratazayaka, Aya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Aya, Bashemayim, Nadananawa, Lakham, Kau, Yowam, Wasalaf Nawa, Kabawah Nawa, Kasalaf Nawa, Kabawah Yanawa, Wala'a, Dabianawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Watapalaraf, Libalumyam, Aman. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. O Lord, Yahweh, Bashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, watch over and protect us. keep us safe, keep us away from sin, keep us under your mighty and watchful eye, under the wing of your protection. Have angels encamped around us, protect us, give us, increase our faith, increase our hope, increase our love, increase our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures, increase us spiritually, increase us financially, increase us emotionally, increase us physically in every aspect. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, increase us. And for our enemies, Esau and the other nation, diminish them, diminish their power, diminish their wisdom, diminish their hedge, allow them to be open to spiritual attacks from evil angels, allow Satan to be sitting at their right hand, and allow them not to pray anything away. As they pray, let it get worse. Okay? And Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, make haste to send your son back to retrieve us and bring us to the second wilderness, and Most High willing, until the land flowing with milk and honey, what they say the rapture, that the Christians did not, that nothing happened. Let us be caught up in the sky while you give the ultimate destruction to Babylon and the world. In Yahweh Shai's name we pray. Amen. Call me Ashala. All right. Everybody that's on YouTube, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatham, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Shamar Thun. Call me Ashala. We got next. Shalom.